Hello guys, welcome to Tech Gadgets. Today I'm going to show you in-depth review of Maruti Suzuki Ignis and Hyundai Grand i10. So the market for small yet family-friendly hatchback is booming at a rapid pace, and to stay competitive in this crowded field, even the best of the bunch need to keep looking fresh. And the most recent mid-size has to be bought update is the Hyundai's Grand i10, fresh for 2017. As we all know, it's retained the old cars practically, but with sleeker looks, a slightly larger diesel engine, and a series of changes inside and out. Rather unsurprisingly, it's more efficient than ever and has all tricks to really compete with its rival, that is none other than Maruti Suzuki Ignis. So it's like a breath of fresh air in this segment and instantly comes in with an advantage. After all, even hatchback buyers want to be able to customize the car's appearance with several personalization options. To the boot, the Ignis allows trendy buyers to do just that. So that's the reason it's a huge success, and there's a lot then to separate this duo in terms of looks, interior packing and performance. So the updated Grand i10 will need to put as good show to come out on top. So let's see it together. In looks and design department, a family hatch has got to be eye-catching to compete in such a crowded space. And unarguably, it's the Ignis with its quirky looks, car-like details that turns heads the most here. The Ignis has been designed primarily for the Japanese crowd and their peculiar taste towards this design, and it challenges convention with its slab-like headlights with mimic the gleaming eyes of certain manga characters and the outlandish raked bootlet. So next to the Ignis, the Grand i10's look can be best described as meek. Sure, its design is thoroughly modern and the whole car sits well proportioned to the ground, but the 2017 model's exterior alterations, different grille, front and rear bumpers and daytime running LED strips are added advantage to diesel trim, top spec diesel trim of i10. And the Grand i10 has totally changed in 2017 version, and the Ignis size shows how city friendly it is, measuring only 3700 mm long and 1690 mm wide and 1595 mm tall. In comparison, Grand i10 is longer than but not as wide as Ignis, and sits taller off the ground as well. The Suzuki's relatively compact footprint is noticeably when you are seated in it, but overall these two offer quite different environments when compared. So let's check the interior layouts and features. The stark contrast in design and layout of the finer elements continue as you move on to the interiors, whereas the Grand i10 retains its straightforward quality and slightly dull layout for the dashboard, and the Ignis is young and bold, not to mention distinctive with the way its dashboard is laid. Everything from the slim dash, the giant touchscreen display, body colored door handles and toggle like switchgear are bits that completely new to smaller car buyers. And sticking out of the dash, the touch display catches the eye as soon as you turn the key. It is bright, colorful and features smartphone mirroring tech besides Bluetooth and USB. And for those young drivers that cannot be separated from their smartphone, the interface touch and slide functionality will come as second nature to them. So when coming to the Grand i10's cabin, may seem relatively conventional, but it also got a stellar touchscreen infotainment system. And the system in fact is one of the few highlights of the 2017 upgrade and comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And the user interface again isn't as lively or vibrant as Suzuki, but impressive if you fancy similar layouts. And screen aside, the level of perceived quality inside the Grand i10 is significantly better than that of Ignis. And the Grand i10's looking switchgear, the dual tone upholstery and the dials and knobs all feel of higher quality to the touch. So press otherwise. That impressive cabin ambience comes despite a few bits like analog instrument panel and the door pads. So like the Grand i10, the Ignis has hard plastic surfaces, but they are not as nicely finished. What's more, the controls for electric mirrors and steering mounted stalks don't have the same level of solidity, and the hands as the Grand i10 bits and bobs. So when the Ignis gains some ground with its standard equipment list, irrespective of whatever variant you pick, there will be ABS with EBD, front airbags and ISO fixed child seat mount. Safety is given priority in Ignis. As for comfort and convenience, the top spec Alpha gets climate control, a decent sounding audio system with touchscreen display, steering mounted controls, push button start, keyless entry, electrical adjustable and foldable mirrors, LED projector headlamps and alloy wheels. And the top spec Grand i10 Astra trim on the other hand is similarly equipped. However, safety features like ABS and passenger airbag are not standard across the range, and the Hyundai doesn't get automatically locking doors also. So when compared to the space and comfort, upfront the difference in seating comfort isn't much, but the both Ignis and Grand i10 have adequately sized front seats with decently large squabs for most occupants. The only difference here can be found in the footwell. Ignis has a great deal of knee room thanks to the slim dash and extra width, whereas the Grand i10 struggles with the narrower footwell. So the Ignis gets an early lead on its rival up front and still manages to impress as you move on to the rear. It keeps its roofline tall and weighs hatched rear to create more headroom for the occupants. And rear bench is high for good visibility and to allow tall occupants to stretch their legs. And the rear bench, however, is relatively flat and features less counters compared to the Hyundai. And because of the small rear windows and all black upholstery, the sense of space isn't as much. And although one sits noticeably lower in the Grand i10, the rear bench is well shaped with more in terms of counters. A big draw card for those who drive with their family for most occasions. And besides a more supportive rear seat, a Grand i10 also scores well when it comes to the all important airy feeling, and thanks to the lighter upholstery and much larger glass house. So when come to the engine options, anyone looking for a diesel midsize has probably rates performance as low on their priority list. So it is effortlessly city cruise and the occasional highway blast that you are looking for, then both these vehicles fit the bill. So as a part of 2017 upgrade, the Grand i10 gets a new higher capacity and powerful diesel engine. It still is the 3-cylinder unit but with significantly more pulling power. It has got 1.2 liter, in fact makes 74 bhp at 4000 rpm and 190 newton meters of torque at 1750 rpm, whereas the Ignis on the other hand makes use of a very tried and tested 1.3 liter diesel engine, putting out similar power and torque. Around town the Ignis feels consistently at slow to medium speeds, then its negligible on paper advantage would suggest. And this has much to do with the fact it responds sharply on the throttle when the turbo is on the song, unlike the old car. So what more, there is always enough torque to keep up with the city traffic, and the engine remains impressively quiet. And vibration, despite being a 3-cylinder unit, the Ignis 2 is equally quick. However, the turbo lag is more prominent as the engine itself, however, is refined as Hyundai's motor. So both these cars prefer to rely on their mid-range punch. As we all know, it's the Grand i10 shifting mechanism that's simply faultless, and the gear shifts are precise as they can get in smaller cars. And the clutch pedal is superbly weighted too. The Suzuki's more prominent turbo lag and power delivery means you are likely to work gearbox slightly more. And the 5-speed unit is a joy to use, and the clutch is pleasantly light as well. So around the town, the Ignis steering is light and fluid and quirky, looks matched by a reed planted feel across bad roads. So Hyundai, but it does feel sloppy at slow speeds and slow to intimate quick turns. When compared to the highway manners, both Ignis and Grand i10 are perfect for driving around town, and they are not bad on faster roads either. I have got to get behind the wheel to appreciate the Grand i10's true quality with its smooth engine, planted ride and excellent noise vibrations levels. It has a feel of a vehicle from a class above, and the cabin is well insulated from road and wind noise, while the ride is surprisingly good, and it is little firm over and when compared, but never uncomfortable. In terms of driving involvement, the Ignis is a step ahead with a more sensitive steering and quick turn, and meaning you can have some fun on twisty roads. But we would like to add that any hint of pushing the car, its Bridgestone tires. As for where it tackles the bad roads, the low speed ride is certainly more absorbent than the Grand i10s with a nice soft edge over rippled surfaces. So fuel efficiency, the Grand i10 it's a city efficiency of 15.4 kmpl is notably better than Suzuki's, which managed only 14.3 kmpl. As for the highways, both these vehicles are equally efficient, returning 19.7 kmpl. So let's see, Maruti Suzuki gets a score of good score. If you are looking for a fun quirky hatch with a sensible side, then the new Ignis is easily your best bet around town, and its light handling and brilliant maneuverability are hard to ignore. And add to that its bold look, strong diesel engine and a surprising amount of space. Even its size and the Ignis has plenty going for it. However, its positives are enough to it's significantly expensive in this company, and its ride comfort. Overall, the quality and finish do not exactly justify the premium pricing. So when compared to the i10, i10 scores better than Ignis. i10 takes the victory by a small yet crucial margin because of its quality cabin, improved ride quality, and competitive price. And its new 1.2 diesel motor isn't exactly rapid, but there is no denying that it's packing in super drivability and is surprisingly refined. And all in all, the Grand i10 impressed us how well developed it feels for a hatchback and featuring lots of practicality and decent cruising abilities. And the Grand i10 also delivers big car quality and refinement. It cannot match the Ignis for outright fun, but its broad spread of positives make the Grand i10 hard to ignore and well earned win this test. So hope that guys you like this big update, long update on this Grand i10 and Hyundai Grand i10 versus Maruti Suzuki Ignis. So please comment and subscribe for my channel for more tech and auto related updates. Thank you.